Welcome to the Capital Call podcast, where we discuss capital, labor, and technology, the main drivers of the global economy. I'm your host, Vijar Kohli, co-founder of Golden Door, an investment firm based in Newark, New Jersey. We hope you enjoyed today's topic as we expand on the ideas of capitalism and economics. On this episode, I discuss which government funds have been exhausted, why sales is the leading indicator for all businesses, the fight for middle America, and how to save capitalism. The first round of government funds has been exhausted. This week, 80 million Americans have received stimulus checks of up to $1,200. Not much per person, but will certainly help the bottom half of America. Stimulus loans also are being dispersed. The PPP and EIDL programs by the SBA have been self-reported from businesses across America. So far, I've seen over $100 million has been dispersed in PPP loans alone. This is about 5% of the total so far, and most of that's coming from small regional banks. Really, SBA clients have been given priority, but everybody's supposed to get the money. The problem today is that the $349 billion that was available to small businesses has already been exhausted. Not surprising given the size of the pandemic, but there's likely to be another $250 billion stimulus package that will be approved, but will probably also be exhausted. This week also, NJEDA had approved several loan programs, two of which have all been exhausted within the first hour of the applications going online. But on the other side, it's quite remarkable to see the government execute a $2 trillion plan and has already begun supporting middle America within 30 days. This is primarily because of our first-class technology and the speed of doing business in the country. In other emerging countries, individuals cannot even open up a bank account in 30 days. Simultaneously, because of all the funding, or the reason the funding is taking place, jobless claims yesterday morning hit 5.2 million, raising the monthly jobless claims to 22 million simply because of the coronavirus. In 1 month, we've wiped out more jobs in the economy has created since the Great Recession. The situation in Middle America is just getting worse, and the stock market is definitely not indicating that. In 30 days, sales pipelines are down almost 100% for every single business. A popular VC investor, Tom Tungus, highlighted some interesting stats about the sales industry across the board, and sales being a leading indicator of every business is the lifeline to tell you how the economy will do going forward. 96% of businesses have seen some impact on their business, and 72% of those respondents have adjusted revenue targets and forecasts or expect to soon. We're already seeing this as earnings season has begun, and I'm expecting more guidance to be lowered, if not no guidance to be provided, because there's so much instability in the market today. 61% will see a decline in Q2 relative to Q1, no surprise there, but 15% will actually see an increase. Those are most likely essential businesses. The same 60% will or have changed quotas in 2020, which is reasonable, especially sales leaders, to keep things in line internally. And 80% of those respondents have paused hiring, or a similar number have reduced their budget. It's no surprise, given the social distancing, to see business travel, new hires, and software purchases as the top categories for budget reductions, given that all conferences and events have basically been put on hold until later of 2020 or into 2021. And half of the respondents are seeing higher churn, or they haven't seen any change at the moment, which I expect all will be negative or flat going into Q2 and Q3 of 2020. This will definitely persist for the rest of the year. I think the COVID-19 concerns will definitely go on until midsummer. The White House today has just released a 3-step phase plan to reopen America, but they've given no specific timelines. They've given some milestones, which are definitely a gray area, but we definitely can't suspect the economy to really reopen until after Labor Day at this point. And I think the decline in sales pipelines and the lockdown is a strong indicator of how the rest of the year will perform. China has already shown negative GDP for the first time in, I believe, 40 years. So I think we have to brace ourselves for what the rest of the year may hold. With 22 million jobless claims, or roughly 15% unemployment, the economy is really struggling. The reality is we don't have enough funds to go around, and we have to make tough choices. Employees are being laid off or furloughed in the millions. This week, I listened to an interview with Danny Meyer, the founder of Shake Shack and the Union Square Hospitality Group, where he employs thousands of employees, and he discussed the struggles in the hospitality industry. He had to lay off employees days before New York City shut down, which was around mid-March, and he's uncertain of when his restaurants or when the industry will reopen. Regarding capitalism, Leon Cooperman, a former hedge fund manager, and Chamath Palihapitiya, another hedge fund manager and former Facebook executive, have provided 2 strong cases on different sides of the economic bailouts. One, businesses need a lifeline, so Leon argued that the government shouldn't let companies go bankrupt because of the coronavirus. He believes companies need a lifeline and will be able to repay all the debts to the government. This is likely the case because the government actually made a profit from the bank bailouts that were given during the Great Recession. So I think they have a playbook of how to make this work for them. Not the same case with the loans, the $1,200 stimulus checks, but the multi-billion-dollar or trillion-dollar buying opportunities to support the government loan markets, corporate loan markets, is definitely a more profitable endeavor. Chamath, on the other hand, says large companies need to go bankrupt. Generally, employees are not fired during bankruptcy proceedings, and their pensions are usually protected. So he speculates that the equity holders, who are rich hedge fund managers, family offices, and investors, generally have enough of a safety net that they could afford to get wiped out. Just because on Main Street today, people are already getting wiped out with the multi-million job loss claims, and rich CEOs are not. So I think this is a case-by-case story. I think if you get a chance, you should watch Chamath's interview on CNBC, which I believe received over 10 million views on Twitter and social media. The reality is many companies today will not have the choice, but may have to be forced to shut down given the strain in the economic environment. I don't think we'll see much foot traffic going on before early 2021, honestly, and people have already lost their jobs, and companies have lost 100% of their revenue in the last 30 days. So with the candle burning on both ends, the economy is definitely in a tough spot, and as people get more comfortable with working at home, I think we'll be in a very different or new normal 6 months from today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend. We're always looking for feedback, so leave a review. You can also find me on Twitter or LinkedIn at Vijarkoli on all platforms. And as always, thank you for listening.